very simple English language. That is the beauty of this book. It is the simplicity of this thing on a book. In first
Hmm.
chapter, he explained why bother, why we want to, why anybody wants to do the meditation in first place. Because there are so many things in our life which we already enjoy: watching movies, watching Netflix, Amazon, going outside, having fun with this thing. But then in that first chapter, he really nicely explained why meditation is required in first place. Because every human being, we try to find the answers outside, whereas the real answer for every all your life questions is within you. Because yes, that is what actually happens. Everything happens within you, and outward is just the expression. So he really nicely explained that in the first chapter. Second chapter, which I really liked, because that is how whenever I discuss a meditation or mindfulness with anyone, that is the very first thing which we need to address is what are the misconception, what is our misunderstanding, or what the wrong things which we learn about meditation from, society, from people, and these things. No, meditation is not for me. ये तो मेरे से होता ही नहीं है. Like whenever I sit for meditation, thousands of thoughts come. So this is not better. I will watch movie. So people have this negative tendency, negative misconceptions around meditation, which he really nicely clear in a second chapter. Okay. And yesterday he explained what is actual meditation. That is again my favorite one, because that is what my point coming to. And yesterday I shared a story. Like many people ask me, like in our group, a person asked me, Manish asked me, Milind, could you give me all the meditation? Let's document this, different type of meditation. So for me, frankly, it is gathering of information. Okay. So yesterday I shared one example, very simple one, that when you go to any, like when we want to travel, say for example, Mumbai to Delhi. Okay. So you have a ticket in your hand, and when you go to the CST station or any station, there is this railway timetable. Yeah. So you do not look at the timetable. There are so many. You don't read any other timetables or this thing. You are mainly interested in your ticket, where you want to go, which platform train will come, and no one do by heart that particular timetable. So in that way, the information is everywhere available, but that information is not for me. Okay. And then Shilpa ji shared her experience that okay, nowadays she is doing the Honopono, which is a release technique. Okay. And she says that in that, even if I hold a ticket, that means I am expecting something. I set my route. So my explanation on that one is basically you need to find out your own way of meditation. Every individual has their own way of defining meditation. So my way of seeing the meditation is different from yours. Okay, so you need to pick up that. That is what Osho says. If you really want to read a book and different type of meditation, then there is a orange book of meditation from Osho. I will definitely, if I get a copy, I will share. He explains 122 different type of meditation. So which one to pick up? So what he says, do the practice, add that practice in your daily life, and see by yourself which one you like. Okay. For example, his dynamic meditation, which has the four stages. A normal person in their house, they can't do that type of meditation. You have to go to the yoga center, like Osho's yoga center, but there is a lot of screaming involved in that, which we can't do at home. So you need to find out your own. So that is what my saying is. Don't miss. That is what I do. Okay. Again, this is I'm just suggestion. Don't go after information. Find out your own, whichever meditation suitable for you. Just try to practice in your daily life and see the effects. It comes up with the all the benefits by its own. So yeah, so that is what my take on meditation. Don't just go by the information, whichever the simple way you want to learn. Yes, go ahead and learn. Okay. Sometimes there is no surrounding available, no people supporting you, then no, absolutely fine. There are numbers of YouTube videos available which does the guided meditation, which is very simple to follow. Just listen to the instruction and flow with the meditation, in that way. But yes, you need to find out your own meditation method. You need to find out what is best suitable for you. So that is what the question someone asked to monk, like who is the best meditator? The answer is that monks give the answer, the person who does the meditation. So there is not best meditation or best meditator and all that. That is what I explained, in last session, that if Buddha is the best meditator, or any guru is the best meditator, their meditation is not going to help me a lot. Definitely I will read their book, I will try to understand, but real experience is your own experience, you know. So yes, practice is main key here, and that is what author explains in his book here. You know, it is a practice of awareness. It is becoming more of you, and that is the beauty of meditation. Once you start practicing, you will know about yourself more and more every day, you know, every single instance. So yeah, so today we'll start with chapter 4, attitude. Mansi, you want to start? Vandana, whoever wants to start. Attitude. Mansi.
Yeah, if no one is there, I can also read. If
Yeah, yeah,
anyone
start,
wants to
start.
read, I can also- yeah.
Vidya.
Yeah,
Anyone?
Mansi, you go
Vandana?
on. You start. I just
Yeah,
back from work. You start.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay. Yeah. Shilpa? Shilpa, you want to read? Okay. Okay, I'll start. Okay.
yeah.
This is the fourth chapter, Milinji.
Yeah, fourth, fourth, yeah. Fourth.
Okay. Okay. Attitude. Within the last century, Western science has made a startling discovery. We are part of the world we view. The very process of our observation changes the things we observe. For example, an electron is an extremely tiny item. It cannot be viewed without instrumentation, and that apparatus dictates what the observer will see. If you look at an electron in one particular way, it appears to be a particle, a hard little ball that bounces around in nice straight paths. When you view it another way, an electron appears to be a waveform, glowing and wiggling all over the place, with nothing solid about it at all. An electron is an event more than a thing, and the observer participates in that event by the very act of his or her observation. There is no way to avoid this interaction. Eastern science has recognized this basic principle for a very long time. The mind itself is a set of events, and you participate in those events every time you look inward. Meditation is participatory observation. What you're looking at responds to the process of looking. In this case, what you're looking at is you, and what you see depends on how you look. Thus, the process of meditation is extremely delicate, and the result depends absolutely on the state of mind of the meditator. The following attitudes are essential to success in part practice. Most of them have already been presented, but we bring them together again here as a series of rules for application. 1. Don't expect anything. Just sit back and see what happens. Treat the whole thing as an experiment. Take an active interest in the test itself, but don't get distracted by your expectation about the results. For that matter, don't be anxious for any result whatsoever. Let the meditation move along at its own speed and in its own direction. Let the meditation teach you. Meditative awareness seeks to see reality exactly as it is. Whether that corresponds to our expectation or not, it does require a temporary suspension of all of our preconceptions and ideas. We must store our images, opinions, and and interpretations out of the way for the duration of the session. Otherwise, we will stumble over them. Second, don't strain. Don't force anything or make grand, exaggerated efforts. Meditation is not aggressive. There is no place or need for violent striving. Just let your effort be relaxed and steady. 3. Don't rush. There is no hurry. So take your time, settle yourself on a cushion, and sit as though you have the whole day. Anything really valuable takes time to develop. Patience, patience, patience. 4. Don't cling to anything and don't reject anything. Let come what comes and accommodate yourself to that, whatever it is. If good mental images arise, that is fine. If bad mental images arise, that is fine too. Look on all of it as equal and make yourself comfortable with whatever happens. Don't fight with what you experience, just observe it all mindfully. 5. Let go. Learn to flow with all the changes that come up. Loosen up and relax. 6. Accept everything that arises. Accept your feelings, even the ones you wish you did not have. Accept your experiences, even the ones you hate. Don't condemn yourself for having human flaws and failings. Learn to see all the phenomenon in the mind as being perfectly natural and understandable. Try to exercise a disinterested acceptance at all times with respect to everything you experience. 7. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. You may not be perfect, but you are all you have got to work with. The process of becoming who you will be begins first with the total acceptance of who you are. 8. Investigate yourself. Question everything. Take nothing for granted. Don't believe anything because it sounds wise and pious and some holy man said it. See for yourself. That does not mean that you should be cynical, impudent, or irreverent. It means you should be empirical. Subject all statements to the actual taste of your own experience and let the results be your guide to truth. Insight meditation evolves out of an inner longing to wake up to what is real and to gain liberating insights into the true structure of existence. The entire practice hinges upon his desire to be aware to the truth. Without it, the practice is superficial. 9. View all problems as challenges. Look upon negatives that arise as opportunities to learn and to grow. Don't run from them, condemn yourself, or bury your burden in saintly silence. You have a problem? Great. More grist for the mill. Rejoice, dive in, and investigate. 10. Don't ponder. You don't need to figure everything out. Discursive thinking won't free you from the trap. In meditation, the mind is purified naturally by mindfulness, by wordless bare attention. Habitual deliberation is not necessary to eliminate those things that are keeping you in bondage. All that is necessary is a clear, non conceptual perception of what they are and how they work. That alone is sufficient to dissolve them. Concepts and reasoning just get in the way. Don't think, see. 11. Don't dwell upon contracts. Sorry, don't dwell upon contrast. Differences do exist between people, but dwelling upon them is a dangerous process. Unless carefully handled, this leads directly to egotism. Ordinary human thinking is full of greed, jealousy, and pride. A man seeing another man on the street may immediately think he is better looking than I am. The instant result is envy or shame. A girl sees another girl may think I am prettier than she is. I think did we read this,
Yes, yes,
Milinji? Or,
we read this yesterday. Yes, sorry.
okay, yeah, I thought I remember. Okay, no
Yeah, yeah,
problem. Yeah,
yeah. Let's
for
go.
a reason.
Yeah.
She is. The instant result is pride. This sort of comparison is a mental habit and it leads directly to ill feeling of one sort or another greed, envy, pride, jealousy, or hatred. It is an unskillful mental state, but we do it all the time. We compare our looks with others, our success, accomplishments, wealth, possessions, or IQ, and all of this leads to the same state estrangement, barriers between people, and ill feeling. The meditator's job is to cancel this unskillful habit by examining it thoroughly and then replacing it with another. Rather than noticing the differences between oneself and others, the meditator trains him or herself to notice the similarities. She centers her attention on those factors that are universal to all life, things that will move her closer to others. Then her comparisons, if any, lead to feelings of kinship rather than of estrangement. Breathing is a universal process. All vertebrates breathe in essentially the same manner. All living things exchange gases with their environment in some way or other. This is one of the reasons that breathing has been chosen as a focus of meditation. The meditator is advised to explore the process of his or her own breathing as a vehicle for realizing our inherent connectedness with the rest of life. This does not mean that we shut our eyes to all the differences around us. Differences do exist. It means simply that we de-emphasize contracts and emphasize the universal factors that we have in common. The recommended procedure is as follows. When we are when we as meditators perceive any sensory object, we are not to dwell upon it in the ordinary egoistic way. We should rather examine the very process of perception itself. We should watch what that object does to our senses and our perception. We should watch the feelings that arise and the mental activities that follow. We should note the changes that occur in our own consciousness as a result. In watching all these phenomena, we must be aware of the universality of what we are seeing. The initial perception will spark pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feelings. That is a universal phenomena occurring in the minds of others just as it does in our own, and we should see that clearly. By following these feelings, various reactions may arise. We may feel greed, lust, or jealousy. We may feel fear, worry, restlessness, or boredom. These reactions are also universal. We should simply note them and then generalize. We should realize that these reactions are normal human responses and can arise in anybody. The practice of this style of comparison may feel forced and artificial at first, but it is no less natural than what we ordinarily do. It is merely unfamiliar. With practice, this habit pattern replaces a normal habit of egoistic comparison and feels far more natural in the long run. We become very understanding people as a result. We no longer get upset by the failings of others. We progress toward harmony with all life. Wow, this is profound.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, it's the next chapter. The practice. Anyone wants to read this, or I can continue if no one is there? Anyone who would like to read this? I actually understood the last part better by rereading it today.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it
It's
happened
good.
for
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Anyone wants to read, or shall I
Yes,
continue?
yes.
No.
Yeah, I'll take over.
Please. Yeah. Please.
Okay. Yeah.
Mansi?
Please. Yeah. Yeah. Please.
Yeah,
Please.
the practice, from
Yeah.
the all through all through there are many subjects of meditation. We strongly recommend that you start with focusing your undivided attention on your breathing to gain some degree of basic concentration. Remember that in doing this, you are not practicing a deep absorption or pure concentration technique. You are practicing mindfulness, for which you need only a certain amount of basic concentration. You want to cultivate mindfulness, culminating in the insight and wisdom to realize the truth as it is. You want to know the working of your body mind complex exactly as they are. You want to get rid of all psychological annoyances to make your life truly peaceful and happy. The mind cannot be purified without seeing things as they really are. Seeing things as they really are is such a heavily loaded and ambiguous phrase. Many beginning meditators wonder what we mean, since it seems like anyone who has a clear eyesight should be able to see objects as they are. When we use this phrase in reference to insight gained from meditation, however, we do not mean seeing things superficially with our regular eyes, but seeing things as they are in themselves with wisdom. Seeing with wisdom means seeing things within the framework of our body mind complex, without prejudices or biases that spring from greed, hatred, and delusion. Ordinarily, when we watch the working of our body mind complex, we tend to ignore things that are not pleasant to us, and hold on to things that are. This is because our minds are generally influenced by desire, resentment, and delusion. Our ego, self, or our ego, self, or opinions get into our way and color our judgment. When we mindfully watch our body sensations, we should not confuse them with mental formations. Your bodily sensations can arise completely independent of the mind. For instance, we sit comfortably. After a while, there can arise some uncomfortable feeling in our back or our legs. Our mind immediately experiences that discomfort and form numerous thoughts around the feeling. At that point, without confusing the feeling with the mental formations, we should isolate the feeling as feeling and watch it mindfully. Feeling is one of the seven universal mental factors. The six other are contact, perception, attention, concentration, life force, and volition. What is volition? Okay, we'll
We'll
discuss
find out. Yeah.
again. Now, other times, a certain emotion such as resentment, fear, or lust may arise. During these times, we should watch the emotion exactly as it is, without confusing it with anything else. When we bundle our aggregates of form, feelings, perceptions, mental formation, and consciousness into one and regard all of them as feeling, we get confused because the source of feeling becomes obscure. If we simply dwell upon if we simply dwell upon the feeling without separating it from other mental factors, our realization of truth becomes very difficult. We want to gain insight into the experience of impermanence to overcome our unhappiness and ignorance over deeper knowledge of unhappiness overcomes the grief that causes our unhappiness. And our realization of selflessness overcomes the ignorance that arises from the notion of self. Towards these insights, we begin by seeing the mind and body as separate and having comprehended them separately, we should also see their essential interconnectedness. As our insight becomes sharpened, we become more and more aware of the fact that all aggregates, mental and physical, are cooperating and that none can exist without the other. We can truly understand the meaning of the famous metaphor of the blind man who has a healthy body and the disabled person who had good eyes. Both of them alone are limited. But when the disabled persons climbed on the shoulder of the blind man, together they can together they can travel and achieve their goals easily. The mind and body are like this. The body alone can do nothing for itself. It is like log unable to move or do anything by itself, except to become subject of impermanence, decay, and death. The mind can do nothing without the support of body. When we mindfully watch both body and mind, we can see how many wonderful things they can do together. By sitting in one place, we may gain some degree of mindfulness. Going to a retreat and spending several days or several months watching our feelings, perception, countless thoughts, and various states of consciousness may make us eventually calm and peaceful. But normally, we do not have that much time to spend in one place, meditating all the time. Therefore, we should find a way to apply our mindfulness to our daily life in order for us to be able to handle daily unforeseeable eventualities. What we face every day is unpredictable. Things happen due to multiple causes and conditions. Since we live in a conditional and impermanent world, Mindfulness is our emergency kit, readily available at any time. When we face a situation in which we feel indignation, if we mindfully investigate our own mind, we will discover bitter truths about ourselves. For example, when we are selfish, we are egocentric, we are attached to our ego, we hold on to opinions, we think we are right and everybody else is wrong. We are prejudiced, we are biased. And at the bottom of all this, we do not really love ourselves. This discovery, though bitter, is the most rewarding experience. And in the long run, this discovery delivers us from deeply rooted psychological and spiritual suffering. Mindfulness practice is a practice of being 100% honest with ourselves. When we watch our own mind and body, we notice certain things that are unpleasant to realize. Since we do not like them, we try to reject them. What are the things we do not like? We do not like to detach ourselves from loved ones or to live with unloved ones. We include not only people, places, and material things into our likes and dislikes, but opinions, ideas, beliefs, and decisions as well. We do not like what naturally happens to us. We do not like, for instance, growing old, becoming sick, becoming weak, or showing our age, for we have a great desire to preserve our appearance. We do not like it when someone points out our faults, for we take great pride in ourselves. We do not like someone to be wiser than we are, for we are deluded about ourselves. These are but a few examples of our personal experience of greed, hatred, and ignorance. When greed, hatred, and ignorance reveal themselves in our daily lives, we use our mindfulness to track them down and comprehend their roots. The roots of each of these mental states is within ourselves. If we do not, for instance, have the root of hatred, nobody can make us angry. For it is the root of our anger that reacts to somebody's actions of words or behavior. If we are mindful, we will diligently use our wisdom to look into our own mind. If we do not have hatred in us, we will not be concerned when someone points out our shortcomings. Rather, we will be thankful to the person who draws our attention to our faults. We have to be extremely wise and mindful to thank the person who exposes our faults for helping us to tread the upward path of self improvement. We all have blind spots. The other person is our mirror, in which we see our faults with wisdom. We should consider we should consider the person who shows our shortcomings as one who excavates a hidden treasure of which we were unaware. Since it is by knowing the existence of our deficiency that we can improve ourselves. Improving ourselves is the unswerving path to the perfection that is our goal in life. Before we try to surmount our defects, we should know what they are. Then and only then, by overcoming these weaknesses, can we cultivate noble qualities hidden deep down in our subconscious mind. Think of think of it this way. If we are sick, we must find out the cause of our sickness. Only then we can get treatment. If we pretend that we are not sick, even though we are suffering, we will never get treatment. Similarly, if we think that we don't have these faults, we will never clear our spiritual path. If we are blind to our flaws, we need someone to point them out to us. When they point out our faults, we should be grateful to them, like the Venerable Sariputta, who said, even if a 7-year-old novice monk points out my mistake, I'll accept them with utmost respect for me. Venerable Sariputta was a monk who was 100% mindful and had no faults. Since he did not have any pride, he was able to maintain this position. Although we are not arahants, we should determine to emulate his example, for our goal in life also is to attain what he attained. Of course, the person pointing out our mistake may be totally free from defects himself, but he can see our faults just as we can see his, which he does not notice until we point them out to him. Both pointing out shortcomings and responding to someone pointing out at our own shortcomings should be done mindfully. If someone becomes unmindful in indicating faults and uses unkind and harsh language, he might do more harm than good to himself as well as to the person whose shortcomings he points out. One who speaks with resentment cannot be mindful and is unable to express himself clearly. One who feels hurt while listening to harsh language will lose his mindfulness and not hear what the other person is really saying. We should speak mindfully, listen mindfully to be benefited by talking and listening. When we listen and talk mindfully, our minds are free from greed, selfishness, hatred, and delusion. Our goal. As meditators, we all must have a goal. For if we do not and blindly follow somebody's instruction on meditation, we will simply be groping in the dark. There must certainly be a goal for whatever we do consciously and willingly. It is not the Vipassana meditator's goal to become enlightened before other people, or to have more power, or to make more profit than others. Meditators are not in competition with each other for mindfulness. Very uh, beautifully said. Our goal is to reach the perfection of all the noble and wholesome qualities latent in our subconscious mind. This goal has 5 elements to it: purification of mind, overcoming sorrow and lamentation, overcoming pain and grief, treading a right path leading to attainment of eternal peace, and attaining happiness by following that path. Keeping this fivefold goal in mind, we can advance with hope and confidence. Practice. Once you sit, do not change the position again until the end of the time you determined at the beginning. Suppose you change your original position because it is uncomfortable and assume another position. What happens after a while is that this new position becomes uncomfortable. Then you want another. And after a while, it too becomes uncomfortable. So you may go on shifting, moving, changing one position to another the whole time. You are on your meditation cushion and you may not gain a deep and meaningful level of concentration. Therefore, you must make every effort not to change your original position. We will discuss how to deal with pain in chapter 10. To, um, to avoid changing your position, determine at the beginning of the meditation how long you are going to meditate. If you have never meditated before, sit motionlessly for not longer than 20 minutes. As you repeat your practice, you can increase your sitting time. The length of sitting depends on how much time you have for sitting meditation practice and how long you can sit without excruciating pain. We should not have a time schedule to attain the goal. For our attainment depends on how we progress in our practice, based on our understanding and development of spiritual faculties. We must work diligently and mindfully towards the goal without setting any particular time schedule to reach it. When we are ready, we get there. All we have to do is to prepare ourselves for that attainment. After sitting motionlessly, close your eyes. Our mind is analogous to a cup of muddy water. The longer you keep a cup of muddy water still, the more the mud settles down and the water will be seen clearly. Similarly, if you keep quiet without moving your body, focusing your entire undivided attention to the subject of your meditation, your mind settles down and begin to experience the bliss of meditation. To prepare for this attainment, we should keep our mind in the present moment. The present moment is changing so fast that a casual observer does not seem to notice its existence at all. Every moment is a moment of events, and no moment passes without an event. We cannot notice a moment without noticing events taking place in that moment. Therefore, the moment we try to pay their attention to the present moment to is the present moment. Our mind goes through a series of events, like series of pictures passing through a projector. Some of these pictures are coming from past experiences, and others are our imagination of things that we plan to do in the future. The mind can never be focused without a mental object. Therefore, we must give our mind an object that is readily available every present moment. One such object is our breath. The mind does not have to make a great effort to find the breath. Every moment the breath is flowing in and out through our nostrils. As our practice of insight meditation is taking place every waking moment, our mind find it very easy to focus itself on the breath, for it is more conspicuous and constant than other objects. After sitting in the manner described and having shared your loving friendliness with everybody, take deep breaths. After taking three deep breaths, breathe normally, letting your breath flow in and out freely, effortlessly, and begin focusing your attention on the rims of your nostrils. Simply notice the feeling of breath going in and out. When one inhalation is complete and before exhaling begins, there is a brief pause. Notice it and notice the beginning of exhaling. When the exhalation is complete, there is another brief pause before inhaling begins. Notice this brief pause. 2. This means that there are two brief pauses of breath, one at the end of inhaling and the other at the end of exhaling. These two pauses occur in such a brief moment you may not be aware of their occurrence. But when you are fully mindful, you can notice them. Do not verbalize or conceptualize anything. Simply notice the incoming and outgoing breath without saying, I breathe in or I breathe out. When you focus your when you focus your attention on the breath, ignore any thought, memory, sound, smell, taste, etc. and focus your attention exclusively on the breath, nothing else. At the beginning, both the inhalation and exhalation are short, are short because the body and mind are not calm and relaxed. Notice the feeling that short inhaling and short exhaling as they occur without saying short inhaling or short exhaling. As you continue to notice the feeling of short inhaling and short exhaling, your body and mind becomes relatively calm. Then your breath becomes long. Notice the feeling of that long breath as it is without saying long breath. Then notice the entire breathing process from the beginning to the end. Subsequently, the breath becomes subtle and the mind and body becomes calmer than before. Notice this calm and peaceful feeling of your breathing.
Can we stop here today? Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No
Yeah.
problem. How much is left
Yes,
for the
yes.
chapter to finish?
Let me
Uh,
see. Okay. Yeah.
is it a lot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, we can
Yeah. Yeah. There
stop
is a
and
lot. Yeah. Yeah. There are more pages.
okay, okay, yeah.
Okay. We'll continue tomorrow. Yeah. Anyone
Yeah.
wants to add on today's session? Today, actually, yeah, he explained the actual practice of meditation, how to do it.
Yeah. I liked how in depth he has explained it all, like consider every small aspect. And I could really relate with the way he has explained about the sitting position because that is so important when we sit for a meditation. Like the people who cannot sit for even 5 minutes stable, like my daughter, I can I can see she cannot be stable for even 5 minute meditation. It would be a tough thing for her. But yeah, I remember there was this one video by Sadhguru where he mentioned that uh, to work on your mind you first need to work on your body because it is your body that allows you to do this, otherwise you're not able to do it. Like otherwise many a times he mentioned in that video that people when we make them sit for meditation or something, they are just fidgeting around or they cannot do that, their back aches, their body aches and things like that because they are not very well with their body. And like yeah, happens with me too at times because I cannot sit for a very I am very comfortable sitting down and things like that, but I don't know if I can sit for a meditation for more than an hour or so. Like maybe I'll have to change my position or something like that, so that whenever I sit for a meditation it always reminds me that oh, I need to work on my body whenever this fidgeting happens after a long period of time for any sessions or something, when you have to sit down for a longer period of time and things like that. So I think that that was well covered in this chapter today. So I really like that the way he explained it, and obviously the comparison part that we read in the part I repeat, like we repeated. So that was also very insightful. Yeah. Shilpa wants to say
Mansi, right, Mansi, I was just thinking, when you learn yoga, there are 8 steps, okay? And the meditation comes very much at the back. First you have to do yama, niyama, asan, pranayam, dharna. So you are guided into meditation. If you don't do asan, yeah, if you don't do the asanas, only after doing the asanas you can do the breathing exercises. Why? Because your body is now stretched. You have connected with your body, and then you can start breathing. Okay, and then you can go into the other practices till you come to dhyana. So I think there is some wisdom into this, and some people just skip it. So even if you don't have much time, if you literally just stretch a little bit, maybe it's just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, that makes a world of a difference so that you can sit for longer times. And it's a good idea to start young. I remember my parents are huge Vipassana meditators. And so when we were young, we also had to just sit. And we did not understand, but it really, really helped us. My dad went to such an extent that when I had to go for a party, as a teenager, out with friends, my father would tell me I should meditate before I go. And I would just, blow up, and I would say, why? What has meditation got to do with me going out? But now I realize, okay, not now, before my children became teenagers and I became a yoga therapist, I realized that, when you meditate, you exude other vibes, and and you have a clear mind, no, clear mind. And I didn't come to any harm, you know, as such. I was always brought back on time and even earlier, and things went really smoothly. And I tend to, associate that with the meditation that I did, because then, there were other people. Of course, there were some guys and girls in the group who had drugs or had alcohol, but I was not even asked. And I realized that even when I went to Goa, I was with other Germans, and they always asked them if they wanted to have drugs, and they didn't ask me. So I went to one of the dealers and I said, "Why don't you ask me?" He says, "You don't take." I said, "How do you know? Maybe I want to start." So he started laughing and he says, "You don't take. You can see it from your face." So I think it makes a difference. So starting young, even and for 20 minutes as a beginner, I think that is too much in this time of life. When I was young, I think my dad put me, I don't know how many minutes, but we had to sit over there. And but right now, where our attention span is so short, I don't think it works. So that's all that I wanted to add. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Great
agreed.
sharing.
And
Sorry, I just
yeah, yeah, thank
sorry, I just missed few bits from Shilpaji. Yes, I was on office call, but yeah, Shilpaji, I think you explained just about Ashtanga Yoga, right? That meditation comes later.
Right, right.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
steps,
True.
yes.
Good, 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 good.
Because if you don't do all that, then your body cannot sit still.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, before you even go to the Vipassana for 10 days,
Yes.
because you're not supposed to do any yoga or anything there when you are
Yeah,
in the Vipassana.
yeah.
So, but before I go, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and even my parents went, we had a yogic practice. We did
Yeah.
the asanas every
Asana. Yeah,
day,
yeah, yeah,
and so our bodies got used to it, and our diet completely changed before we went for Vipassana. So when you have less food, everything makes so much of a difference. So I hope he talks about food also later.
yeah, yeah. No, it's good that you, Shilpaj, again, it comes from the experience. Good you touch this particular point because many times, whenever I discuss with among friends about meditation and all that, and I mentioned that in message, everyone wants quick fixes now. Kind of they always treat this as a kind of technique. They always compare this kind of. They use this sentence. It is like training your mind, going to the gym, but meditation is all beyond that. It is not like weightlifting or something, and it requires this what Chilpaji just you mentioned. It requires that patience. Yesterday I was thinking after our session, like how a novice or a beginner can start meditation if he is full with his stomach with food. Like if he after dinner if he sit for the meditation, how he's going to, because his whole system is following the digestion, digestion process, then how we can focus. So yes, these are the some of the things which are really nitty gritty of these practices, which need to understand to gain the real experience. Otherwise, yeah, that is what many people miss. And that's why the whole idea of this discussion, actually, after reading the book, to listen from the experience, like you attended Vipassana, Sumita ji went to Sri Lanka, through to just to listen to the experience, the people who actually does the meditation on regular basis. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would like to say that in what he is saying is that you're regarding sitting and kind of getting used to sitting in one position for doing that meditation initially may not come easy to anybody, to any beginner.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not, that should not stop the process.
Yeah.
Only when you start sitting in one place, and even if you fidget, eventually you will get there. But you can't be perfect on day one.
Mm.
So, and one of the things in Vipassana that they do is that, there is meditation throughout the day, they have slots, like, but there are time slots where there is 1 hour, what they call as adiktan. And adiktan is like when you are not moving, or you should try not to move. It's not that, if you have to move, you have to move, but you should, as much as possible, you should be sitting in the position that you start sitting. So if you are comfortable with your legs straight, because you can't sit cross legged for long, then start in that position and end in that position. That is the intent. So, whatever work, and there are many old people who come for Vipassana for the first time, and then they sit on chairs because they can't sit on the ground with, sitting for a long time. So, they have chairs and then they sit on the chairs. So, one of the things that I think is important is that we know where we are, and then we build on top of that instead of trying to compare with somebody else who is able to do it much better than what our health is permitting us. So that is what I got from him, that don't compare.
Yeah,
You
awesome.
can
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And if you even in Vipassana, you can't do everything from day one. It takes, in the 10 days, it takes like 3-4 days for you, for the body to get adjusted, because not everybody is like doing yoga every day, not everybody is that healthy. So people will take their own time, and that's okay, and that is expected. So what I think what he is also saying is that don't be hard on yourself if you can't do it on day one.
Mm.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
My 2 cents.
Thank you, Vidyaji, for your awesome sharing. That is what the real experience is. I never been to Vipassana center, so I can't comment any of their practices. But yes, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, in fact, mindfulness is a term which has come from, it has a Western concept. And they have actually taken the concept of Vipassana and they have kind of converted it into the Western, to appeal to the Western audience, the language and the
Yeah,
way of
yeah,
doing it. So, so there are many mindfulness coaches even in India now.
yeah,
But originally, it started from India, it went to the West, and now it has come back to India.
yeah. It's exactly like yoga and yoga. It's get converted
Mhm.
into yoga, and yeah, they are more into it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyone else wants to share something? Otherwise, we'll close the session.
Yeah, I am done actually, but Milinji, I really liked your initial share before the chapter about the active I remember I have been part of a retreat in where we actually practice those active meditations by Osho.
Yes, yes.
You named dynamic, right? And
Yeah,
they were
dynamic
such a
meditation.
different experience.
Yeah.
Till that time, I was never even aware that such kind of meditations do
Yes.
exist.
Yes,
For
yes,
me,
yes.
meditation was always sitting in
Yeah.
silence and
Yeah.
something like that, but it was a very different experience. And
Yeah.
it is very profound. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
for
glad that you
dynamic,
guys
yeah,
know about.
I completely agree with you. For see, for dynamic meditation of Osho, yes, all the four stages, really you need to understand why we need to do those steps, and he explains it very nicely, definitely in his books or in his say YouTube this thing. But only after understanding that why we need to that those type of steps, some one second step, I think it is absolutely it is a mad steps. But once you understand why it is required, why that your body requires that kind of outburst, getting all the energy out, all those steps basically, then there is a fun and there is a actual benefits of it. But that is what again I think what I gained from today's discussion and all that. This is exactly what is required to understand the meditation. Otherwise, people just talk about meditation without practicing, and when they talk, then it naturally comes out of it saying that okay, they really do not understood what the meditation is all about. Again, yeah, there are lots of so many videos available and information nowadays available on our fingertips, so everyone reads it, so they think that oh, I gain meditation, I know meditation and all that. But when you listen from experienced people, even if on YouTube, you get totally different perspective. So yeah, but yeah, keep on experimenting whichever the best meditation you picked up, just practice it. And yeah, it's really good this thing to something to be learned in your life. And once you start loving it, then yeah, definitely you're not going to lose it, or not a single day without practice. Yeah, that's it from my end.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yeah, very
Awesome,
true.
cheers. Yeah. Okay, so we will continue with next chapters or next paragraph from tomorrow. Okay, thank you everyone, thanks for your time. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, bye bye.
Bye.